It's time again for the Science Bowl.
Zoo parade for 5. What big teeth the hippo has are actually a pair of these. Science potpourri for 10. Would a snake most likely eat every day? Every week, Dateline Science for 10. Why are some elephants wearing necklaces these days? Green things for 15.
And now, here's your host, Mr. Z himself, Dave Zarin.
Thank you, and welcome to the Science Bowl. Today, some outstanding elementary schools here to play our game, and let's meet our first team. They hail from Greenbelt Elementary School. Would you please say hello to Magali? Magali, wave to everybody out there. She's joined by Kenneth. Hey, Kenneth, nice to have you on the show today. Got that nice greyhound back there on their green screen, the mascot at Greenbelt Elementary. And Joseph. Joseph, give us a nice big wave. Nice to have you guys here today. You know, on our show today, and all the shows we've been taping this year, since we are doing everything virtually, I'm in the studio here in Greenbelt, in Landover, and all of our students are out there safe in their homes, and they are joining us via Zoom. Some things are different. We don't have buzzers because we have different speeds and we can't sync that up perfectly. So each team today will receive 18 questions. Different, but of equal difficulty. The score will be the same in the sense that we start teams out with 50 points, no penalties for incorrect answers. And at the end of the 2 rounds today, the Greenbelt team will be playing Thomas Stone. At the end of those 2 rounds, the team that is ahead in points will be the winner and come back to play again. Each of our 6 categories is identical from before, and we have questions that are worth 5 points, 15, and 25. Easy, little tougher, and toughest of them all. And speaking of the categories, if you're new to the Science Bowl, here are the 6 categories that we traditionally use.
Okay, Mr. Z, here's today's categories. Green things, questions about plants and all things green and growing. Zoo parade, a Noah's Ark of questions about animals. Body systems, we'll see how much you know about yourself, about things like breathing and growing and digesting your food. Let's get physical. Questions that test your knowledge of physics and chemistry, earth science and space science. Then there's science potpourri. Here's a grab bag of science questions, everything from air pollution to the kitchen sink. And finally, Dateline Science. We'll ask you about science history and science in the news.
All right, I think our team is ready. I hope you're ready too. Play along with us and see if you can match wits with these outstanding young people here from Greenbelt. All right, Greenbelt, here we go. Here are your green things questions for 5 points. In the Toy Story movies, this married couple of tuberous vegetables has different eyes for different moods.
Wait, different eyes for different moods?
Moods, M-O-O-D-S. So if they're angry, if they're sad, if they're happy, these characters in the Toy Story movie had different eyes because they're tuberous vegetables. What vegetables have eyes in real life?
Potatoes. Yeah.
Potatoes, that's right. Mr. and Mrs. Potato Head was your answer there. All right, you got the 5 points, good. For 15 points, maybe this happened at your house. Someone hangs up a sprig of mistletoe, and you know, it's an invitation for you to get up there and give someone a kiss. You kiss under the mistletoe. Now, mistletoe is a plant that gets its food from a host plant. Doesn't make its own. It makes it what kind of plant?
Parasite?
Parasite is right. Good answer. For 25 points, you're doing well. This is a multiple choice question. We know that plants have no brains, but they do seem to have memories. They know that after a long, cold period, like winter, it's time to flower in the spring. Is that period when they are cold known as, big words, listen, habituation, vernalization, or speciation?
I think it's vernalization.
It is vernalization, because if you know the vernal equinox, that is the other name for the spring equinox, so you got yourselves 25 points. Oh boy, you aced it, guys, you aced it, yeah. Let's go to the zoo. You're gonna know this one. Zoo Parade for 5 points. What large birds that nest atop roofs and chimneys in Europe have long been associated with delivering human babies? Those would be the storks. There have been animated movies where the stork flies over and there is the baby being carried by the stork in its bill. Of course, it's a nice legend. Let's go to the 15-point question in zoo. It's just been discovered that young alligators, if they lose their tail in a fight, can grow it back, like many lizards and amphibians. This regrowing process is known as what?
I know starfish have it too. I know I've read about it, but I can't remember what it was. Salamanders do the same thing. I don't remember the actual name of the process. Yeah, salamanders do it and starfish do it. I think maybe some other animals.
Yep, you guys are thinking about the right thing. It's called regeneration. They regenerate. Starfish, you're right, Joe, they regenerate arms. And sometimes, you know, those lizards you see around your house, those little geckos, those skinks, they will also regenerate their tails. Okay, for 25 points, I have a visual question for you. There will be 2 of them for you in your game. I have a picture for you, and the question itself is a multiple choice question. This year's insect of the year is this Danish mayfly, M-A-Y, mayfly, whose genus name is Ephemera. E-P-H-E-M-E-R-A. Ephemera comes from the word ephemeral. It is so named because this insect can migrate long distances, because it lives such a short time, or that it mates for life. Migrate distances, live for a short time, or mates for life.
Lives for a short time, because I've heard that maybugs live for a very short period of time.
Boy, that's a great answer, Captain. That's right. Magali knows it. She got her team 25 points. Nice work. All right, 3 more questions for you before you get to take a break. You're doing real well. Body systems for 5 points. Parents often tell children, they might have told you, that you're going to get presbyopia. They might not have used that word, but you will get presbyopia if you keep crossing your what?
Eyes?
Eyes, that's right. If you keep crossing your eyes, your parents say, they're going to stick like that, they're going to stay like that. That's presbyopia. Thank you, Joseph. Body systems for 15 points. Multiple choice. If someone you know, maybe someone you know in your class, uses a bronchodilator spray, bronchodilator, are they suffering from asthma, heartburn, or diarrhea?
So it's not asthma, because then they would use an inhaler. Heartburn or diarrhea.
Bronchodilator. Bronchodilator.
Sounds kind of like diarrhea.
Or diarrhea.
Yeah, I kind of think diarrhea.
Yeah.
Magali, your choice. Go. Which one?
Diarrhea?
Not diarrhea. Broncho refers to lungs, and dilator means to expand. So it would be asthma. It would be asthma there. All right, try this last question here, the 25-pointer in body systems. It's going to be a 2-part answer. Listen. Astronauts who spend a long time in space up there on the International Space Station, when they return to Earth, 2 of their body systems associated with movement are much weaker. Name the 2 body systems that let you move that would be weakened because there's no gravity, reduced gravity, in space.
There's skeleton and muscular. Is there skeleton one of them? And your muscular system.
Exactly right. You got yourselves 25 points. Excellent work, Greenbelt, which means you end this first round, Greenbelt, with 150 points. You guys are on a roll. Congratulations. It is now time to meet the team from Thomas Stone Elementary School. And would you please say hello now to Skylar. Skylar, would you wave to everybody at home? Thank you. And Peasley is with us today, another 5th grader. Hi, Peasley. And Ashley is here too. Ashley, nice to have you on the show. Give us a nice big wave. All right. They're ready and raring to go. And let us begin, as we did with Greenbelt. Let's ask them their first 9 questions. Here is your first question from the Green Things category, Thomas Stone, worth 5 points. Most berries grow on bushes and shrubs, like raspberries and blackberries. But some, like strawberries, grow close to the ground on these, the kinds of plants often associated with grapes. Grapes grow on what, just like strawberries do?
Vines.
Vines.
Vines. Oh, y'all knew that one. Good. You got yourself 5 points. That's the way to start the game. Next, for 15 points, we have a visual question for you. Some of you may remember the story from ancient Greece. There was a teacher by the name of Socrates who was forced to drink the sap from a poisonous tree known as the hemlock. You're looking at the hemlock. The hemlock, which is like other firs and pine trees, in that it is one of these C-initialed kinds of trees.
C-initial.
These C-initialed kinds of trees, they have needles, as you saw there, instead of regular leaves.
Mm.
When I say C-initialed, it means the answer begins with that letter. In this case, the answer was conifers. There are trees that lose their leaves called deciduous trees, and then the ones that keep their needles all year round like Christmas trees, those are conifers. Try this 25-point question. How many of you have ever seen a chia pet planter? That's something, yeah. You get something, it's like the face of somebody, and you smear it with seeds and you water it, and it gets all green and fuzzy, forms a hair or a beard. Well, chia pet planters this past Christmas, you could even get one of the child. They grow their green fuzz from chia seeds that do this after they are moistened. What do the seeds do after they are moistened? For 25 points.
Sprout.
Give me another word. When a seed starts to grow, as it sprouts, can you give me another term? What do we call that? They germinate. They germinate. The seed germinates. Let's go to the zoo. Zoo parade for 5 points. The star of the Disney movie, The Wind in the Willows, was this amphibian who went for a wild ride. Think about amphibians. What's an amphibian? What's that?
Maybe like a frog?
Yeah, maybe a frog.
Maybe a frog, because a frog figures in a lot of animated movies, but in this case, it is Mr. Toad. Mr. Toad. If you ever get a chance to go to Disney World, there is Mr. Toad's wild ride that you can take as he goes careening through the streets of London. Try this next one. It's a multiple choice question for 15 points. When baby birds in the nest practice siblicide, S-I-B-L-I-C-I-D-E, do they compete for food, try to fly from the nest, or try to kill each other?
I think it's try to fly from the nest.
Me too, kind of.
Same. It's multiple choice, so I think there's going to be another one.
Okay, they're not flying from the nest. Sometimes, you know, the end of that side, C-I-D-E, like you've heard the word homicide and suicide. The baby birds try to kill each other, which is awful, but they're trying to push the competition out of the nest so they get all the food that the parents are bringing back. All right, here's your 25-point question in zoo. This is so strange. Hard to believe. Pandas in nature have been seen rolling around in all things horse manure. They roll around in horse manure. Seems there are chemicals in the manure that help them resist getting cold, as well as other chemicals that keep down inflammation in their body, which will cause what?
Inflammation?
Inflammation. We've been talking a lot about inflammation during this COVID crisis. What does inflammation cause? You suffer.
Phlegm?
Say it again?
Phlegm?
Not phlegm, no. Inflammation is something you're trying to say. Go ahead, Ashley. What do you want to say?
Is it swelling?
And if swelling occurs, what does that cause?
Heat?
Causes pain. Causes pain. So it's a pain reliever. They roll around in this manure because certain chemicals can somehow reduce their pain. It's like, you know, the pandas can't go to Target or CVS to get a bottle of ibuprofen. So they have to find some natural means of doing it. Okay, 3 more questions for you. First one in body systems. A new children's book, The Hiccupotamus, is about a hippo with hiccups. Because like us, he had a spasm in the big muscle beneath his lungs, known by this D-initialed word.
Diaphragm?
You got it. Thank you, Peasley. It is the diaphragm. Yeah, you get a little spasm in your diaphragm. You start burping, little hiccups. Nice answer. For 15 points in body systems. The malleus, the patella, the mandible, and the tarsals are all what same kind of body part? Each one of them is a different kind of what? A tarsal, a mandible, a patella, and a malleus. All 4 are different kinds of what same body part?
Is
The brain?
Brain. Now, these are all different kinds of bones. They're all different kinds of bones. Your patella is your kneecap. The tarsals are in your foot. The mandible is your jaw. And the malleus is one of the 3 little bones in your ear. Here's your last question in the first round. Some people are calling it pandemic stomach. You might have gotten it. With all the stress and the worry of the pandemic, you're sitting at home every day, you're sitting in front of a laptop like you're doing now, 8 hours, I can't take it anymore. With all the stress and worry of the pandemic, people are buying lots of Pepcid and Tums and other kinds of these A-initialed medicines to soothe upset stomachs. What A-initialed kind of medicine soothes an upset stomach?
acid?
You're close.
Like the name of the medicine?
I think I
No,
know
just
it,
the
but I don't
kind.
know.
Tums and Pepcid are a kind of medicine to soothe an upset stomach. Peasley, you're on the right track there. It is antacids against acids. So you take a Tum because you got too much acid, and that helps to absorb it and to help you to feel a little better. So at this point, you have 60 points, Thomas Stone. We're going to give you a break, and then we'll bring you back, talk to you about yourselves, your schools, and ask you your last 9 questions. It is now time to bring back the Greenbelt team. But before I ask them any more questions, and they've shown how well they can answer my questions, a few personal ones here. Let's go to Magali and Magali. First of all, can you tell me who is the coach of your team? What teacher?
Miss Hollingsworth's the coach of our team.
Yes, and who is the principal at your school?
Miss Gins is our principal, a very nice principal.
What a nice thing to say. She is indeed a nice principal. And don't you have an assistant principal there as well?
Yeah, Miss Dag, she's really nice too.
She sure is, Miss Sherelle Staggs, and she was at one time the county's Teacher of the Year. I don't know if you ever share that. She's a very humble person, but she is a tremendous, tremendous teacher as well. Thank you very much for saying that. Tell me a little bit, do you have any alternates on your team, Magali?
Well, Owen and Eric are the alternates, so if one of us isn't here, they have to fill in for us.
That's wonderful. And tell me a little bit about yourself. What do you want to do someday? Adults always like to ask kids, what do you want to do someday?
Well, someday I would like to become the President of the United States, or even become a senator, or something in the Supreme Court.
Well, I like your confidence, and you're so well spoken, and I predict that you will be able to do one of those things one day. Just keep doing what you're doing here. You have a lot of poise, you have intelligence, and you're going to do yourself and your family proud. Nice to have you here today, Magali. And let's go and talk to your teammates. Let's talk to Kenneth. Kenneth, tell us a little bit about what you do in your spare time, young man.
So sometimes I'm reading, sometimes I'm watching a Greenbelt video, because I really like those videos. They're funny. Yeah.
Listen, you're a typical and a wonderful young person. That's what you do today. And why did you want to do this? Why did you want to be on the Science Bowl?
Well, first, I love science. And second of all, I like the team.
Yeah.
Just kind of fun. Something
I'm glad
else to
you're having
do to
fun.
help me like stay calm during these times.
Good to challenge yourself too. What do you want to be someday? What do you think?
So at one point, I thought I kind of wanted to be a chef or something, but now that I think about it, I don't really know what I want to do.
You have plenty of
haven't
time to
really
worry about that.
Kind of thought lately.
And being a chef, we all have to eat, so you'll never want for a job. And I bet you're a good one. All right, let's talk to your other player, Joseph. Joseph, nice to have you with us today. And you were sharing with me earlier that your brother was on the show before, so it's part of a family tradition. How did he do when he was on the show?
Well, apparently he got to the last round and didn't quite win the last round of the overall Science Bowl.
Well, I can remember when Greenbelt Middle School won the county championship, and I think Greenbelt Elementary also did very well that year, so you're part of a grand tradition there. Someday, Joseph, where are we going to see you?
I guess sometime soon, if you have a podium, we'll be on the podium for Science Bowl.
Yeah, that's just great. I hope you're with us for many years here. You can play all the way up through your 8th grade year. All right, Greenbelt, if you're ready, let's now ask you your last 9 questions. First from Let's Get Physical, a 5-point question. Here we go. After a controversial demotion a few years ago, we can now say we have just an octet of these celestial bodies. An octet means 8, and the demotion was for Pluto. So we can now say we have just 8 planets. Planets was the answer there. 15 points. If you're soldering to make electrical connections, you're likely using an alloy of 2 metals, tin, and this one with the chemical symbol PB, a substance that's been eliminated from paint and gasoline and other materials because we know it causes brain damage. Name that chemical element.
Lead, because I know that was used for paint.
Absolutely. Lead paint. So many young people, they would gnaw on it, and it had terrible repercussions. Lead it is, 15 points. For 25 points, it's because gasoline and coal are made from long dead plants that they are known by this alliterative 2-word name. Alliterative means both names begin with the same letter. What alliterative 2-word name describes gasoline and coal?
Non-renewable?
Non-renewable. Good try. No, they are fossil fuels. Fossil fuels. Double F there. I liked your answer, though. Let's go to potpourri. Here's a word I don't expect you to know. Pareidolia. Pareidolia is a word that means you can find meaning in meaningless things, like seeing a rabbit or a hippopotamus when looking up at one of these. Most often, it's a cumulus one.
Cloud.
Cloud is right. Yep, okay. Potpourri for 15 points. Here we go. One plant you don't want to mess with is the Australian stinging tree. It has glass-like needles that if you touch them, will inject a toxic substance that has almost the same effect as this substance that's produced by venomous snakes.
Venom?
We will take venom, yes, or we would take poison. Either one. Good. For 25 points in potpourri. The drug that most often causes an allergic reaction is this first ever antibiotic, accidentally discovered by Alexander Fleming in a dirty petri dish.
I've heard this one. Can you please repeat the question?
Sure. The drug that most often causes an allergic reaction is this first ever antibiotic that was accidentally discovered by Alexander Fleming in a dirty petri dish.
I think I've heard this before, but I don't really remember the name. Does anybody else remember? Yeah, I've heard it before.
Yeah, I'm sure you've heard of it before. It's actually a favorite question on Science Bowl. It's penicillin. Penicillin is the name of that antibiotic. If you remember the story, they didn't wash out those petri dishes, those little glass dishes, and they came back and they found mold growing in there, but there were some areas that were clear where you could see that the mold had killed the bacteria, and that was the indication that, hey, this might be able to be used for human beings. It has saved millions and millions of lives. All right, let's go to the Dateline questions for 5 points. Back in the 1920s, the U.S. government imported fish from Italy that were well known for eating the larvae of mosquitoes that carry this disease.
Malaria?
Malaria, good. Malaria means bad air, like malware. Malaria, bad air. Good answer. Dateline for 15, visual question. Visual question. There are a lot of American heroes, but this man, Chuck Yeager, who died recently, he was in his 90s, was the most famous test pilot America ever produced. He was the first man to fly fast enough to break this barrier in a jet.
The sound barrier. Sound barrier.
You got it for 15 points. Excellent. Last question for you in the game. A meteorite that fell onto Australia was found to contain glycine, Glycine, one of these kinds of acids that are used for making proteins and are essential for life.
Amino acids.
Amino acids for 25. Boy, you were ready for that one. Good. That means you go out with a bang. You end up this game with 230 points, Greenbelt. Nice job. Give yourselves a pat on the back. You deserve it. All right, it is now time to talk to the team from Thomas Stone Elementary. And let's go to Skylar and find out about that school. Thomas Stone, where's that located? Are you over there in Mount Rainier?
Yes, Mount Rainier, Maryland.
Yeah. And who's the principal at your school?
Mr. Hens.
Mr. Hens, yes. And the coach of your team, because I know he's been working hard with you.
Mr. Ford.
Mr. Ford, indeed. We thank Mr. Ford for all of his work. You guys wouldn't be here today were it not for him. And I know you are very proud that he was associated with you and practiced with you. Tell me, any alternates on your team, Skylar? Just their first names, if you know.
Aldo, Maria, and Treasure.
Wonderful. So you have kind of a shadow team out there. You got 3 on and 3 off, 3 ready to come on, an integral part of the team. Tell me about yourself. Tell me something about Thomas Stone that is really special that you like.
What I like about Thomas Stone is that most of the teachers are really nice, and we do fun stuff.
Yeah,
like events.
Like events, yeah. Of course, this year, everything is so different because we're all at home. But if school is fun, that is the best compliment you can give. And someday, where are we going to see Skylar? What are you going to do?
As an FBI agent.
Wow. Yeah, to keep the country safe is very important, and good luck to you in that. That's a very noble ambition, Skylar. Let's go over and talk to your teammates. Let's go to, let's see, Ashley. Ashley, come on up. There she is. Hey, Ashley, you're smiling throughout this thing. I hope you're having a good time. And, all these tough questions, you're thinking, what is this man saying to me? But you're coming through, and I like how you come up with the answers. Even when you're missing the questions, your answers make sense, and that's very important. Tell me the Ashley story. What do you do in your spare time?
What I usually do is draw and sketch, or else build something out of boxes. I usually make the suspense.
That's nice. It sounds like you've got a great imagination and you're very creative. And what do you want to do? Do you want to be an architect someday or an engineer?
Well, I'm thinking of being a surgeon.
A surgeon, wow. All right, well, that is going to require a lot more schooling, and it looks like you're a very studious young lady, a disciplined young lady, and good luck to you in that. And the third member of our team today is, let's see, where is Peasley? Peasley, come on up. Peasley, you've come up with a couple of great answers here. How do you know so much about science?
Watching a lot of videos, books, hearing from family members. Yeah.
Yeah, that's great. Well, you're obviously a great student, and would you ever consider being a teacher?
Maybe. If what I want to be isn't really still an option anymore.
What do you want to do? What is your thought now?
My thought now is to become a forensic scientist.
Oh, wow. Yeah, do you ever watch those CSI programs on television? Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
There are a lot of them out there, and I can see where they would be influential because you're making a difference in the world. That's what we all want to do. Nice to have you here, Peasley. You're doing a nice job here today. All right, Thomas Stone, if you're ready, here are your last 9 questions. Let's begin with the category Let's Get Physical for 5 points. Here we go. Good luck. When Galileo dropped objects off the Tower of Pisa to see how fast they fell, you've probably seen that in books, he calculated not their speed, but rather this V initial term that includes both speed and direction. Velocity. He calculated their terminal what?
Velocity.
Velocity is right. Good answer for 15 points. That's how to start it out. Yeah, Peasley, she's all excited about that. She knows her stuff, as you all do. For 15 points, and let's get physical. If you take some software and you take it apart, and then you put it back together again and make it better if you change it, that is known as reverse what? The E in STEM. The E in STEM. You reverse what?
Engineering.
Engineering. Good. Thank you, Skylar. For 25 points. Even before this planet was seen, astronomers knew it was there because they detected its gravitational pull on nearby Uranus.
Uranus?
Say it again.
Uranus?
No, that's part of the question. Even before this planet was seen, so I'm looking for whatever planet now, I'm looking for another planet. Even before this planet was seen, astronomers knew it was there because they detected its gravitational pull on Uranus.
Pluto?
Not Pluto, because Pluto's, it's not a planet anymore. It's the one that's now the farthest one out, Neptune.
Saturn?
Neptune was the answer there. Let's go to potpourri for 5 points. All right, I know you've all done science fair experiments. You'll know this one for 5 points in potpourri. To find out what was killing the salmon fish in Seattle, Washington's city streams, scientists formed many of these scientific guesses before finally finding out it was chemicals from car tires that were washing into the streams and poisoning the fish. What do we call a scientific guess?
Hypnosis? Prediction?
Hypothesis.
Hypothesis, that's it, that's it. All right, that's a great answer there. Thank you very much, Ashley. All right, let's go on to your 15-point question in potpourri. We all know what koalas are. Koalas are those cuddly, bear-like animals in Australia. To get an accurate count of all the koalas in Australia, the government is using heat-seeking drones that can detect what kind of radiation given off by the koalas that are so difficult to spot from the ground. What kind of radiation is responsible for heat?
What do you think?
I'm not sure.
I'm sure you've heard of it, infrared. Infrared. It's like, if the nurse can't find where to put a needle in your vein, she has an infrared detector and she holds it over your hand and it shows where all the heat is coming from the blood. Infrared was your answer there. For 25 points is a visual. It's also a math question. All right. No, you're not seeing something out of the ordinary. Since owls can't move their eyes, they compensate by being able to turn their head 3/4 of the way around. Or how many degrees? 3/4 of the way around a circle is how many degrees?
Wait, I know this.
270 degrees.
Say it again.
270 degrees.
It is 270. Thank you, Peasley. Thank you, Ashley, because she was on the right track too. Got yourself 25 points. That's the way to do it. Let's go to Dateline. You have just 3 more questions. Here's for 5 points. Back in 1970, the United States and much of the world celebrated this day, named for the 5th largest planet in our solar system. We celebrated what day? Back in 1970, named for the 5th largest planet in our solar system.
What was the question? It froze.
I'm sorry, what was the
question?
The question. Back in 1970, long before you guys were born, here in America and all around the world, we celebrated a day named for what 5th largest planet in our solar system?
Earth.
Say it again.
Earth. She said Earth.
Right. We celebrated Earth Day. It was April 1970. All right, for 15 points. Ornithologists, I hope you studied up on your ologies. Ornithologists have just completed the first part of their project to identify the genomes, all the genes, of 10,000 of these creatures.
Genomes,
Atoms.
Geckos?
Not geckos. Ornithologists study birds. They've started to detect or to decode the genomes of 10,000 of the world's birds. All right, last question of the game, 25 points. Both Sherlock Holmes and Alexander Graham Bell had assistants with what same name as the computer that beat all the human contestants on Jeopardy?
Wait, can you repeat the question?
Both Sherlock Holmes, who was a famous detective, and Alexander Graham Bell, who invented the telephone, had assistants, men working next to them, who had what same name as the name of the computer that beat all the human contestants on Jeopardy?
Any ideas, guys?
Alfred?
Henry?
No, good try. Alexander Graham Bell, remember when he was testing out his phone, he said, Watson, come here. That was the first phone call he could hear. So Watson, Watson, and Watson, which means that Thomas Stone, you end the game with 115 points. Good work. And it is now time to announce the winner of today's game. As we always tell our teams, everybody who is on the Science Bowl wins. They are all elite students. They're all chosen because not only are they great sportsmen, but they're great students, and they just have wonderful characters. They are all winners here today. Our final tally today is Thomas Stone 115, Greenbelt 230. Congratulations to Greenbelt. We're going to see you in the semifinals. And everybody that's here, we have a lot of alternates here. We all have we have our sponsors. We have some principals. Ms. Stagg is here from Greenbelt. Ms. Hollinsworth, the coach, is here. Mr. Ford is here, the coach from Thomas Stone. We have alternates Treasure and Aldo and Eric and Owen and Maria, all that made today possible. We thank all of them, and I thank you for tuning in during this pandemic. We're keeping our game going here, and we hope you enjoyed it. We hope you had some fun today. I'm Dave Zarin, and I'll see you next time. Bye-bye, everybody.